Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 276 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's up, guys?
This is a rarity.
All three of us.
You were here last week. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if I'll see you guys before Christmas, but yeah.
Well,
other than that.
Damon, are you aware that somebody has asked me to make a Damon soundboard just so like when you're not here, I can just play your reactions to things?
I don't approve that, so
you wouldn't.
I definitely don't approve that. I mean, I haven't even had time to do a golden buttons, but nothing is really kind of, I don't know, nothing's really kind of come out that's intrigued me just yet. I'm on a little bit of a mission for haunted houses this year again, but I just don't think anything catches the first time nostalgia. So we'll see. We may be trying some different places though, just because my oldest new girlfriend lives in Virginia. So we may try one of the ones in Virginia. So we may have something to report on that. Not sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all about this ship stuff, but the Disney Destiny won't release their schedule, so it doesn't really help me so much.
Well, so you're interested in this ship, Damon?
So I've decided that I'm interested in doing another Disney cruise, but I don't want to do the Treasure because it's just too long. None, besides myself and my wife, the rest of the family does not adhere to these 6-7 day cruises.
I'd rather do that. So that's why we're doing the Treasure. We like
you and me both, but my kids are definitely a no-go on that. So the Treasure is not an interest to me, but the Destiny might be an interest to me. I mean, we just don't know what we're doing. I mean, I can't get people to buy into this whole cruise situation in terms of the length of time. So next year, I don't know. I have no idea what we're doing next year. I think Dollywood's going to have a new ride, so maybe we'll go back there. We have the one cruise booked already. But our friends that would normally vacation with us, this is what they said. I ruined them with this stupid vacation cruise that everyone from the podcast went on, ruined them. So I said to them, hey, listen, we're going on Utopia, the Seas. And they're like, well, that's more money than, we're going for 4 days, I think. They're like, well, that's more money than our 6-day cruise was, on Adventures of the Seas. I said, yeah, but Adventure of the Seas sucks. Like, I mean, of course it's going to be more money. And I said, not only does, is it an older ship? I said, you also got a ridiculous group rate. I will tell you, though, that the sponsor for what's his name show, Matt's show, ended up getting me a pretty darn good rate, too, for Utopia of the Seas. But yeah, it's more expensive. So now I'm just at a loss. Like, I'm in this weird sort of like, I don't know what to do for vacation. Like, I have this, this clock running down, right? So again, thank goodness my oldest son is going to grad school. So I still feel like that fits in this vacation clock. Like, I think I'm just going to spend a ton of money on vacations for the next 3 years. And I've agreed to that. I just don't know what to do. Like, I'm at a loss of what to do. Disney, again, like I said, my middle one says he doesn't even like Disney. So, okay, whatever. But there's nothing new for them to do. I mean, I guess we'll do Universal, but that's one trip.
And that's still like a year and a half, or I guess next year now.
Yeah.
But,
but when next year, we don't know, right? So for me, I said, if it's not the summer, if it's any time after August 1st, it's the next year. So, again,
they're talking winter next year I
mean, that's actually better. I hope it gets pushed back to even further, to be honest with you. But I'm just at this big loss of what to do next year. I have one cruise on the books. And, after kind of reading up and listening about, the Royal Caribbean, Utopia of the Seas, I mean, is it going to be a party ship? I don't know the answer to that.
You can't figure that.
I can't figure that out. I'm going to have to go. So I don't want to book another one if I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like,
do you want the party ship or not want the party ship?
Dude, are you really asking me that question? Of course I don't. I mean, that's not even a question. I definitely don't want a party ship. Now, there are some things on it that I do want, but, do I book another Disney next year? Remember, I have that 10% that I have to use at some point.
Yeah.
So do I just book a Disney cruise next year? I mean, the Destiny is when? When's there? Aren't we
25? That's like November 25, I think.
Yeah, so I'm kind of stuck. If my kids won't do the Treasure, what am I doing? All the rest of the Disney ships are butt. all the other ones. Like, I don't want to go in them. They're like old. So what am I
go
doing?
The new ones.
Yeah. And a treasure's just too long. Unless I just bully my kids and be like, hey, we're going on the treasure. You know, oh, I'm such a terrible parent. I've made you go on a cruise 2 days longer than you wanted to. Like, you know.
What's wrong with you having longer vacations?
I will tell you that, again, the 5-person room is fine. But could I see it after 6 days being a little much when I have, you know, that'll be a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 14-year-old? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So we'll see.
I could see that being a little rough.
Yeah.
And 2 rooms on a Disney cruise, I mean, if I want to pay like $40,000, sure.
Well, it's funny you say that because I don't know what we were my in-laws were here and we were looking at videos of like the of the Wish and just because, you know, since we're doing the treasure and it's the, you know, same class ship, it's not going to be the same obviously, but it's similar.
Yeah.
So, and we were looking at the suites. Have you ever watched videos of the suites?
Oh yeah, the Royal Caribbean suites have slides in them.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like wouldn't that be great? Like, I mean, I guess at one point a blowout trip would be fun. Like, okay, do I really want to spend? I mean, you're probably talking close to 40 grand, right?
Yeah.
So, do you want to spend 40 grand on a vacation? I mean, it would be nice, but I don't know. I'm in a different spot than you guys, right? Like, I mean, I'm coming to the end of that journey, so it's like, ooh, would I fork out 40 grand? I mean, I might be stupid enough to do it. I mean, I'm not sure. But it would have to be like, if I was to do that trip would be because I have this weird thing. It's kind of lined up now. So my son, if he goes to grad school and takes him 2 years, which I'm going to assume it will. So I'll have him graduating grad school, my other son graduating college, and my daughter graduating high school all that same summer.
Oh, man.
That could possibly be a blowout, you know, suite cruise. I mean, that's possible. I think if I was going to do a suite, though, I'd do a Royal Caribbean suite. I'm very curious to see how this cruise goes. Like I said, I can't take what you guys, you know, did on the adventure as really what to expect on the Royal Caribbean. Utopia.
Oh, no, it's a totally different ship.
Totally different.
Yeah, totally different ship.
I'm curious to see how it goes. But we may end up booking Disney next year. But we really enjoy that whole Dollywood area. And regardless of, you know, what happens in Dollywood per se, I think the last 2 times we've gone, we actually haven't even gone to Dollywood. And we've really only scratched the surface of Sayersville, Pigeon Forge, to be honest with you.
There's a lot there. Huh?
Oh, there's so much there. Like, listen, I love Disney, I love Universal, but again, like that area is just so underrated in terms of the amount of different things you can do for the cost for it being Tennessee. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you know, talking about this, Damon, because I was thinking to myself, you know, oh, well, I mean, we have the cruise schedule for next year, but really nothing else, right? Like we've got the cruise and then like we don't have like a Disney trip scheduled for the first time in a while, but not for like we don't want to go. We just haven't really talked about it, you know, because we have the cruise and it's like, okay, so do we want to do the cruise and do the parks? And I was also just looking at my points too, because I'm like, I probably have to bank soon. And then I went in there and I was like, oh, you don't have any points to bank. I just totally didn't realize I used all my points. I had 8 points to bank. Okay. So, you know, I don't have any points anyway until, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I'm not going to take a vacation between now and April, you know, when my youth year starts. But like we don't have anything scheduled like that. And my daughter keeps going, when are we going back? When are we going back? And I'm like, sometime. I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, until my daughter was, I think it was just in the past 2 years. So let's say call her 12. So, you know, up until she was 12, that would have put my oldest son at close to 18. We went every year. I felt like going every year, you know, until they get older was what I wanted to do. But now that they're older, I'm in that spot where it's like, oh, okay. But you know, 1 trip a year sounds great, but if you can afford to, I mean, 2 trips is even better. Yeah. I mean, for the kids, I feel like it gives them an opportunity. But again, I'm in this weird situation now where, you know, my kids will be out of school in April and May for my boys, but my daughter doesn't get out till mid-June. and then she can't be gone. They have tryouts for tennis at the end of July, and you can't just like roll in the tryouts without having a racket, not playing for a week or two. So we really can only go away from June 18th to July 15th, maybe. That's it. So 2 vacations there. We were talking about back-to-back cruises.
Oh,
do you
gosh.
just book a back-to-back? Like, do you just ball out? Like, the opportunity that we have, at least for us, is that we can work from anywhere, my wife and myself. So, I mean, we can pull work duty from a hotel. My wife was actually just in Tennessee for a week because my son is not acclimating all that well to college life. So she said, I'll just go out and hang out there for a week and work out of a hotel. Like, we could do that. So could we do a cruise, cruise, and still just stay in Florida, right? Like, we could.
Yeah. You could do that.
There's that. But if my kids hate staying on a cruise 6 days,
how much are they going to want to do back-to-back cruises?
Back-to-back cruises.
Down doesn't sound like a good idea.
No,
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So I think we're going to end back up in Dollywood. And while I do love the fact, again, I really wanted to go to the new Dollywood Hotel this year, but the cost is just like, as I see retirement looming, I start to think about like costs of certain things. And yeah, it's just like, oof, do I want to pay double to stay at, another place? Plus, again, we had my son's girlfriend, which puts us over the 5, which then turns into a whole disaster. So it's like, what are you doing in terms of, getting places? At the Dollywood place, we'd have to get 2 rooms. And then that's crazy in comparison to where we were at the Riverstone. We had a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming next year, I'm only going to make this assumption because it is early in the year, that my oldest girlfriend will be coming with us as well. She lives in Florida right now. I don't know if that will continue to stay the case, but because she was in Florida, she couldn't come on the vacation with us. But if she moves back to Virginia, then my guess is she may come, and then all of a sudden now we're talking 7 people. 7 people is expensive.
That's a lot. I
mean, you know how it is, Tom, when you're going away with your family. Like, the difference between 5 and 7 is double. It's absolutely double because you got a double rooms now.
Yeah, I mean, we, our last trip we had two bedrooms. I mean, it was a lot of DVC points, and it was a lot of people just traveling everywhere together. And it makes everything a little more difficult to coordinate. As long as you're okay with like people going off and doing their own things, then that's great. But like if you're trying to do things as a group, it's the bigger the group, the more challenging it is.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, group-wise, I'm not too worried about that because nobody's paying for anything, so keeping everyone together is kind of whether we want or not, but my guess is they will go off and do some of their own things. But yeah, one never knows.
Interesting, yeah.
So did that take place of listener questions, or do we actually have listener questions?
No, we have listener questions. No, we do.
Man.
But first I got to read
the rundown.
I also got to review I got to read the review of the week, which we just got from nickname 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 just a bunch of numbers. Obviously, a quickly made username to give us a review.
Yeah.
But it says food time. Please release food time in iTunes. I need it in my life ASAP. So, I put that on there because we were actually talking before the show about this. I am going to try to put it somewhere. I just don't know where yet, but it will be out there to if you want to listen to it over and over. So that one I will be doing. I don't know, it's probably not going to be iTunes. It's probably going to be more, I might just release it as like a podcast episode that's 50 seconds long, and then you could just listen to it that way. I mean,
yeah, people can do whatever they want with it at that point.
Yeah,
you could add it to an iTunes list or whatever.
That might be the best way to do it, because then it just distributes it to all the platforms and makes it easy.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, just putting it on Spotify or iTunes is not as easy as it sounds like it would be, But anyway, so thank you for that nickname and a bunch of numbers. It's such can you make a more like made up quick name than that? So we do have some listener questions. We haven't done listener questions in a while. I will say we typically do them when it's a slow news week. It is a pretty slow news week this week, so I wanted to do some listener questions, but. Philip asks, what are the chances of convincing the Magic Kingdom crew to let Tinkerbell wear a GoPro during her fireworks cable ride to share from her perspective? I feel like I've seen one before.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I'd seen that already. Yeah.
I don't know where, though.
You're going to make me look now. It's got to be on YouTube somewhere.
So interestingly enough, as a side note, I've been trying to, my daughter's still Halloweening it, right? Like, cause she's, wait, is she 14? She must be 14. Yeah,
I think I probably did Halloween till I was like 14. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they have a fun time and they get together. So, I was trying to get her to dial into the fact that she is perfect for a wiggle, right? And especially with the wiggles kind of coming back and the introduction of all that, whatever, doesn't matter. So she said no, that her and her friends are going as Tinkerbell. She's Tinkerbell, and there's other like fairies, right?
Okay.
So they're doing that for Halloween. I thought that was interesting. I was kind of like, huh, okay. I didn't, think that was something that they would do, but I was pleasantly surprised. I forget that she knew the names of the other ones, and I guess there's that whole show with.
There's that show, yeah. There's a show. That, yeah. What did you guys all do for your last Halloween? Because my last Halloween, my friends and I were all Ghostbusters. Like we did Ghostbusters for last Halloween. I
think my last Halloween was like pillowcase, quick mask, candy grab. So I don't want to say, I don't think I can specifically say. Now, if we want to talk about what I feel like my best Halloween costume was. So what I had was what were the stormtroopers that were flying the TIE fighters? Like there's a name for them though. Anyway. Yeah, like they have
the
special helmet, like they're black. They look different. Like I used an old bicycle helmet. Excuse me, not an old motorcycle helmet, and made that. That was probably my best Halloween, thing that I think I did personally.
I think my Ghostbusters costume was pretty good. Like we had like the packs and everything, because like I still had like the toy from childhood of like the packs and the trap that you used to be able to buy. That was one of my better ones. And one friend that was doing it with us, he's like an artist. And so he made like, logos and, the names on the jumpsuits and all that stuff. It was pretty decent. I mean, we were probably a little bit too old at that point to be trick-or-treating, but it was, still fun.
Yeah, I got nothing because all of my costumes had to fit over winter jackets or snowsuits.
Oh, yeah.
So I never had good Halloween costumes.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Trevor, so Damon, it's funny you brought this up. I would love to know in the group, like this is a great poll question, is when you were a kid, what did you use to hold your candy? Because I always used a pillowcase growing up, right? Pillowcase. Like always pillowcase. But I feel like I don't see kids do that anymore. Like all the kids that come to my house, nobody has a pillowcase.
Yeah, it's got to be some fancy bucket. It can't even be like, I think even prior to the pillowcase, like when you were younger, it was just that plastic
pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. There was nothing fancy. Now there's definitely a lot of fancy things. I'd actually like to know what some of the adults in our group's best costumes were.
That'd be good too. Yeah. I feel like we need to do a Halloween live
this
show.
Year I'm going to be a podcast person and I'm going to just use my backpack. Tom, come on. The backpacks came out really nice, didn't they?
No, they came out great. Yeah, they did.
It's like funny you mentioned backpacks, but that was actually
you got yours?
No. When we were growing up, actually, there was a lot of kids that would do a pillowcase and a backpack.
Oh,
because you would fill up the pillowcase and then dump it into the backpack and keep going. Yeah,
we would just usually like go home in between.
Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah.
No, we didn't have time for that. It was too cold. You had to get out quick because it was getting cold at night.
Yeah, I could see that. But I want to again just talk about these backpacks and how nice they are. Like, gosh, they came out really, really nice.
They did. Yeah, they look really
good. So what did here's
I'll
the
let
question.
You know next year.
Yeah. So what did you think? So here's my question, Tom. Between the two backpacks, right? Because forget about the little weird bag sort of thing, which came out nice, but it's not necessarily what I thought it was going to be. But sure, it came out nice. But between the two backpacks, do you like? I thought that so they're 4 times the cost between those two. I actually thought the cheaper ones were really nice.
Yeah, the cheaper ones are nice.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
The Ogio ones are really nice, but are they 4 times as nice? I think the answer is no.
I don't think I don't think anything would be 4 times as nice. Like,
isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I thought.
Has anybody gotten even close to guessing the price on the Facebook
they're
group?
Getting closer. They're getting closer. Yeah, but I thought that maybe that helps them out too. But I just thought the cheaper ones, if we were to ever do backpacks for people, that would be. I think they were nicer than I thought they would be.
Okay.
But that's the thing. Like that stuff when you order it is tough. Like remember, poor Trevor's hats came out and they were just terrible because the hat quality was just bad. But you don't know until you order. That's
you don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes. So I think that we'll forever only have the only OGO backpacks, but those other ones may come out at some point.
I do kind of want to do, in the past we've done the Halloween live show and people come dressed up. I feel like I kind of want to do that again this year. It might be fun to have people come and be dressed up in costume and do that kind of thing. So
you say that, but then you never schedule it. So
listen, I have time now. I am free. I can do these things. So we're going to make it happen this year. So we just got to set a date and we're going to do it this year.
I wish there was like a Scrooge McDuck mask. That would be the best thing.
I mean, I'm sure you could get a Scrooge McDuck mask.
I'd want one that's like legit though.
Like,
I'm thinking like the old 80s, like plastic mold masks.
No.
The rubber ones?
Like a latex one that really was like Scrooge McDuck like. That would be so cool if that was the thing.
Oh man, I just Googled this and I found a vintage one for $65 on eBay.
Oh, no. What is it, the plastic kind now?
I don't know. Let's look at this thing. Oh, this is creepy.
Yeah,
this is a kid's costume. This is a kid's costume.
This is what I'm probably thinking.
Oh, I see the ones you're like. How much was it?
$65.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's that. You need like one of those really good like quality like rubber ones, right? Like like the really
Man.
I don't see those anywhere. I don't think they exist. I think you'll have to like
this one that's a vintage one. I still can't wrap my head around 1991
being vintage.
Sure, it's only $20.
Yeah,
that was not so bad.
I mean, 91 was a long time ago, man.
So they say. I like that $700 Scrooge silicone mask. Now, if I had that's
the way to do it. Yeah,
that's a different story.
Yeah, just drop $700 on a Scrooge McDuck mask,
something that you're going to wear for like an hour.
Exactly, if that. I had this idea for like something I want to do on YouTube, but I don't want to say it yet because I'm not near getting it done yet. But I was surprised at like just the cost of some things from our childhood and really how much the new versions of them are. Like just in general, like I was looking at something which I know I owned as a kid probably for like $12 and now like $140 and not like the old one, just the newer version of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. Kids' toys are out of control.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. All right. Well, that was a fun tangent.
Yeah. We went down a weird rabbit hole because of Tinkerbell, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Listen, I like the Halloween conversation. I like I said, I would like to do it again. I think it'd be fun. So I will get working on that, guys. For real, I'll schedule this. This is gonna happen. Cool. So we'll do a costume contest, and whoever has the best costume will get a prize of some sort,
which we won't actually send.
No, we will. Again, I have time again, Damon. I have time. So, so Jen wants to know, how do you like your popcorn? Air popped or microwave popcorn or stovetop? I think we should also throw in movie popcorn in here too, because I feel like it's a different category.
Movie popcorn is nasty.
Which one is nasty?
Movie popcorn is nasty.
Yeah, it's usually way too salty, and whatever topping they use is not butter, so it's not good.
I never use the fake butter because like it just makes your hands disgusting. Like
and it's too salty. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think movie popcorn would ever be my favorite for sure.
We have like a little it's an Orville Redenbacher thing. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a tabletop thing, and it just has like a little bar in it that spins, and you put the kernels in there, and then it pops it right there. It's not really air popped. It's more like it's kind of closer to stovetop, I think, but it's like a standalone machine. That's how we usually make it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually just use a pot on the stovetop, but use coconut oil because
it's better.
That actually comes out taste wise. That's actually what they use in Disney. Yeah, so it tastes like Disney popcorn.
That makes sense. Yeah. That totally makes sense. I don't really do any toppings on my popcorn either. I'm not a big popcorn person. My wife and daughter love popcorn. I'm not a huge popcorn person.
I like the Colonel salt and vinegar popcorn salt. Like I'll do that, but again,
I like kettle corn.
Oh, I love kettle corn.
Kettle corn's good too.
Yeah.
I actually did maple popcorn one day, which
Probably pretty good.
It's good, but it's really hard to make because you got to be like very perfectly timed with when you add the maple syrup because it burns very quickly, right? So you gotta do it very, very fast.
So I'm down this little bit of rabbit hole of, I went down this vanilla extract situation, right? So now I got so much vanilla extract cooking, right? Like not cooking,
real or artificial.
Real.
Okay,
so making it
zone. He made zone.
Yeah, so I got two full 750. So everything's in a 750 milliliter at this point. So I got 2 Everclears cooking. Not cooking, but just they're kind of doing their thing I have a bourbon, I have a white rum, I have a vodka, I have them all going. And what I started to read was about people making vanilla salt. So I actually made vanilla sugar because there was a problem. I didn't realize you can't extract with 190 proof Everclear. That ruins the beans, right? I didn't know. And I got tricked into it by the people at the liquor store, but that's neither here nor there. So I ended up, they get burned obviously from that amount of alcohol. So I took them out and I had to do something with them. So I made vanilla sugar with it, which came out phenomenal. We use it for everything. But I was reading about vanilla salt. I said, oh, that might be interesting for popcorn. I've never heard of such a thing, but I would consider that.
Good. Yeah.
We usually do plain popcorn because we have our first 2 floors are all wood, but our 3rd floor is carpet in the bedrooms in the game room. And I refuse to let my daughter have, 8 teenage girls over and have anything that will be a problem. So they do plain popcorn up there and they hate it. They're always like, oh, can we get some butter? And I'm like, no. Can we have juice, water, and plain popcorn? That's it. That's what you get when you come to this house. There is nothing else.
Oh man.
Yeah, and lollipops. I do lollipops. I don't know why I allow lollipops, but I feel like a lollipop's either in your mouth or it's finished, so it's not so bad.
I tell that to my daughter because those tend to fall out of her hand and mouth all the time. End up stuck to my furniture.
Oh,
yeah, not great. All right. Well, I like that question. Let's not do the rest of the questions here. Let's talk about the cruise line stuff. And then we'll get to the other stuff after the ad. So, sound good? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, Disney Cruise Line announces a DVC member exclusive Disney Destiny sailing details. So, Damon, maybe you could do the DVC cruise. You could do the first one.
No. I don't want to be with DVC people.
You don't what?
I just don't. I'm sorry.
It looks like the Destiny. So it's going to be November 28th, and it'll be 5-night voyage to the Bahamas. So
that all sounds good.
5-night would be good for you, right? You could do 5.
It would be perfect. I think the problem is that when you go, okay, I'm not saying everybody, but I think the percentage of Disney crazy goes up in the DVC groups. I think there's the percentage of crazy, right? So for
you mean just obsessive or
let's say obsessive instead of crazy, but sure. And I don't mess with those percentages. I think the percentages are just too high for me. And I just don't think I would love that. It's kind of so Tom, you've been on a Disney cruise or no, not yet, right?
I've not, no.
Okay.
Next year.
So when you go to the DVC meetup, okay. It's a different group of people than your regular Disney cruisers.
Okay. Yeah.
From what I found from the 3 cruises that we've been on, and it's fine for an hour, and that's good enough for me. I don't know if I could do a whole cruise full of that.
All right, I can see that. That's fair. I think it's interesting this cruise is only stopping at the islands too, though. It's only stopping at the private islands and nowhere else.
I mean, most of the cruises, I feel like that double dip, stop at Nassau and then double dip. So it seems leaving Nassau off is fine.
Yeah.
The thing is Nassau's getting a water park, though. I mean, they're really going to build up that port, which is going to make Nassau, I think, a little bit different of a stop. I mean, I know you have the opportunity to go to, what's that place called again? The Atlantis. But I think it will be nice when the water park is maybe right there in the port. I think that's going to change the dynamic of Nassau. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah, I mean, I think I talked about this on my cruise. I as nice as Turks and Caicos was, and the beaches and everything. Like there was really nothing there. Like there's
there's
like all the ports are like tourist traps, basically. You know,
well, there's tons of excursions to do once you go in port, but the problem is like I kind of consider cruises, at least to me, is like I've paid my cruise, and I understand I could get an excursion beforehand, but I paid my cruise and then I'm done. Like I don't want to pay anymore.
The cruise is the trip. It's not all the extras. Yeah.
Now I think maybe as I do more and more cruises, though, that may be more of a problem. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like my kids may be like, dude, I've seen this before. I've done this before. I don't know the answer to that, but I haven't really done any excursions, so we'll see. But I think having an excursion, I'm always, to be honest with you, I'm a nervous traveler just in general. So to have to think about an excursion with a third party company that's far away, that has to get me back to the boat within the specific time frame, doesn't make for a fun vacation for me.
Fair.
Now, I think I'm probably the only one in the family. The rest of the family could care less. But
you're the one who has to figure it out when it goes sideways, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if something does go sideways, everyone looks at me like, well, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, well, I don't want to be in this position to begin with, right?
I get that. I'm the same way when I travel. I feel you on that it's like, yes. you want to just relax, but then it's like, when things go sideways, you have to have the plan.
Even if it doesn't go sideways for me, it ends up not being relaxing, which is probably terrible because honestly, at the end of the day, I'm probably missing out on a lot. So I'm trying to work on that. But I think I'll feel a lot better once we can do like something in the port there rather than having to go far. But
it's interesting you mentioned the safety part of it, though, because it's like when we were in Turks and Caicos, right? Like we decided to do a golf cart tour of the island because that's a thing apparently. But like the first thing you do when you go on this golf cart tour, and you kind of realize this pretty quickly, that the whole tourist area is kind of gated off, right? Dudes with machine guns standing guarding this gate. And that's the gate that we went through. And I was like, well, this doesn't feel great. Like, we're going to the other side of this gate. And I mean, we're just driving on the road in these golf carts with cars around us. Like, it felt very, I mean, listen, they do it every day, all day. So, I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, like, I have to feel comfortable. Like, I wanted to do Atlantis. And I just think to myself, like, well, the Atlantis trip is not run by Disney, which doesn't make me feel great. People do it all the time. But like, man, like that would bother me from the time I stepped on the ship until it was over. And I would probably have a phenomenal time.
Yep.
It's like what a lot like, and I think maybe again, like just if I want to like psychoanalyze myself, I think it's probably one of the reasons that I kind of like that whole Dollywood situation, because like no matter what goes wrong, like there's a Walmart, there's a hospital, and nothing's that far away. I mean? Like, I don't know.
But that's why Disney's great, though, too, because you have everything there, right? Like, you're not...
absolutely.
Especially when you have a car, it's like, oh, well, if I need something, I just run over to Target or Walmart or wherever, whatever.
It's definitely helped our packing, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, why don't we do our ad, and then we got a couple other things.
Okay, this week, our sponsor is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market is a World of DVC company that is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. So we got a new show coming to Hollywood Studios. It's interesting. When I read this, my mind immediately went to the Beauty and the Beast show being replaced, but it's not the Beauty and the Beast show being replaced. It's the Lightning McQueen show being replaced. And I don't know if that has anything to do. It is a little weird. I mean, I've heard that show is good. I've never done it, but I heard it was a pretty decent show. But even in the Discord, I forget who said it was like, I don't even know what this Lightning McQueen thing is. And I was like, and that's exactly why it's getting replaced. Like,
that is fair. I guess I was looking at from like the Lightning McQueen stuff is newer, but that newer doesn't necessarily mean better, right?
Yeah, that's true. So and it's interesting that Disney's really leaning into the villains thing, right? Like, Like, I mean, they always kind of have, but like, I feel like recently more, like, you know, you have like the Top of the World is turned into a villains thing. You know, the Top of the World Lounge is a villains thing. Of course, you have the Villains Land coming. You've got a whole ship of heroes and villains, and now we have this.
It can't possibly have anything to do with Universal.
Well, I mean, but they've been doing. This is a trend that started a couple years ago, though, right? I mean,
but we knew Universal was building this a couple years ago too. I mean, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's a smart way to compete, because if it does extremely well, I don't know. I flip-flop back and forth again with this whole villain thing. And, you know, is it their demographic or is it not? Is it going to work or is it not? I don't know.
So here's the weird thing is I recall like back in like 2010 and whatnot, like a long time ago, people going, oh, you know, they're going to do a Villains Land someday. Like this is not a new thing for Villains Land. Like people have wanted it, but it's always been, you know, it's definitely been more adult centric, and it's definitely been more, you know, people want the Villains Land because it's the opposite of Fantasyland, right? You know, where Fantasyland is full of kids and you know, young kids, where Villains Land becomes that, you know, fine, we have a space for, you know, older kids and adults specifically, that, you know, younger kids are not going to go there. So I don't know that I feel like the Epic Universe thing definitely kickstarted it, in that, you know, I think Universal
went so differently.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
It does. And I think,
but I feel like it was like, you know, Epic Universe, they went, fine, you know, you're not going to do this, Disney, we're going to do this. And then Disney kind of looked back on it and went, okay, fine, you know, yeah, we're going to start doing these things too. Like,
and that's what I wonder about. So we were looking through again, right? I have now, gosh, I'm up to 200,000 pictures on my Amazon photos, right? Which is wonderful. We have them on all our TVs. We like to see them. So yesterday, Maleficent photo comes up of my daughter and Maleficent, right? I don't know. I put her maybe at 3, 4. I don't know. I'm terrible with, like, if I saw like Tom's kid, I'd have no idea how old she was. It wouldn't matter. Like, I'm just terrible with that.
It's hard to judge. It's hard.
Even with my own kids, I'm like, let's call it 3 or 4. I'm not even sure. But what was interesting was, so I said to her, because we were just sitting down there, I think, trying to catch up on Dragon Prince, which we still haven't. It's such a great show, by the way. We were trying to catch up on that, and we saw this picture come up, and we're like, I said, hey, so, you know, what about that picture? And she's like, yeah, I was scared. I go, you look like you're scared. She goes, oh, I was really scared. She goes, I remember that. I remember being that, like, super scared about that. And it's just Maleficent, you know, leaning down to talk to her. And it got me thinking about this, you know, this whole villain stuff, and like, you know, why? Like, I get it, but the Disney adults cannot account for the same amount of profit that kids do. I just can't imagine that they do. And it just got me thinking to myself, why?
You don't really? I feel the amount of Disney adults now is a lot higher than it was.
So when you walk through the park, though, you're telling me that you think that you see more adults without kids than adults with kids, right? Because you have to take the adults with kids out of the equation for a second. They don't count.
Right.
So you think you see more adults without kids than you see more adults with kids?
I don't think it's that I see more without than with, but I think the percentage is definitely a lot higher. That, yes, you're right. You know, Disney is primarily, you know, families, but I think there is enough people that, you know, older people that come, you know, without their kids, and, you know, solo trips and all that kind of stuff. I think there's enough of that to justify a land focused around this kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be like,
I don't think it's going to be scary.
Yeah. And see, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be scary.
Like, it's not scary for adults, and it's still scary for younger kids, then, like, I kind of don't know where that mark is. I don't know.
Why is Universal doing it too, right?
So because Universal's, I think, is going to be scarier.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, though, right? There's Universal's is classic monsters, right, that are legitimately scary to most. And Disney villains are, well, you know, can be scary. They're a little softer, you know. They're not.
Is there anything scarier than turning around in that cart to the witch and Snow White? Because I don't know if there is, man.
The older villains way scarier than newer villains, right? Yeah.
But okay, I will. So anecdotally, my son's experience was, the first couple of times we went to Disney, I avoided, like, we didn't even do Haunted Mansion or anything like that. So he was young enough that I knew that, I wasn't going to be one of these parents. And this is the thing, is you see this where, there's some poor kid that's, screaming and crying. The parents are like, come on, we're in Disney, it's fun. And it's like, but it's not, right? And so I guess the thing is that I understand what you're saying, David. Those really young families, I definitely would never, say, take your kids to Villains Land. But, I think it was about when my kid hit about 7 years old that all of a sudden a switch flipped for him. And then he was like, yeah, Haunted Mansion is awesome. We rode Tower of Terror in Disneyland back to back 6 times. Like he was into it. And so, it's not that they have to be like older or adults, but there is definitely a cutoff where, like I said, and this is where I think the trade-off is going to be, is that you will see, the younger kids will all be in Fantasyland. And, for parents, I think it comes down to the parents really paying attention
how well that worked with Alien Encounter.
I know, but it's tough to be a bug too. I mean, that's
But this is the thing, is that I think there will always be those parents that are oblivious to what it is they're walking into, because right now there's no excuse for, like, Alien Encounter. Yes, people didn't have necessarily a frame of reference for what it was, but everyone knows what this is, and it's so, like, everything's so online now that there's no reason why you can't know ahead of time what it's about, right?
Sure, but are they stop? Is that stopping them from going? Right. That's kind of the question. So I wonder where this Villain Land is going to sit in terms of scariness versus not scariness. I'm really curious. I'm just torn on whether it's going to fit their demographic and or their money, right? Because I look at it and I say, well, do people going to Disney every 5 years, right, just on a single point of reference, spend more money? I would have to imagine that they probably do.
I would think they do, yeah.
Right? And then that is recycling through people that think, like, again, I talk to people and, especially like, my kids' friends. Hey, so when was the last time you went to Disney? I went when I was 5 and we never went again. I went when I was 4 and never went again. Went when I was 7. Oh, we went when we were 4 and 7. Like, so I think about that and then just think to myself, like, it's going to work, obviously. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but is the return on this as high as the return would be on a land that wasn't this? And that's what I question. Maybe Disney doesn't care. I doubt that, but I'm curious about that. Scary is, it's funny because I feel like, and I have such a limited amount of data here, but that, like, younger kids, even as they progressively get older, are less, like, I don't know, they're scared by a lot more things. I don't know. Limited data here, but
listen, my daughter's terrified of the Frozen ride, so, like, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too, is even the most, like, innocent things that you don't think are a big deal.
Cookie Monster. My kids still make fun of me for that.
My kid.
Cookie Monster did me in.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I'm gonna do this, or okay. My kid's never gonna listen to this, but so on Sesame Street, or Elmo specifically, that there was Mr. Noodle that showed up.
Mr. Noodle,
Noodle was awesome.
So my son was scared of Mr. Noodle.
Why?
Okay.
I don't know. He just, like, we could not have it on though. Every time it came on, he got, like, freaked out, and we were like, okay, nope, changing the channel. It was it was the weirdest, like, it was weird, but I also get it, from his point of view. There's just something about it that didn't sit right to him. I
get that, because I had this cookie. So Cookie Monster was my thing, right? And I had this little, it must have been a play school Cookie Monster. I mean, the thing just looked like a blob, right, with 2 eyeballs on the top of it. And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe I should go ask my parents if they were just doing me dirty my whole childhood. This thing would always be on the top of my dresser, and I'd be like, why the heck is Cookie Monster always on the top of my dresser? And I'd have to take him and put him in the drawer and close the drawer, because Cookie Monster was just not it for me.
You're reminding me of Teddy Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin. Yeah. That's an old reference at this point, but yeah, because that thing was really creepy at the time.
Teddy Ruxpin didn't bother me, but this little Cookie Monster play, I have to find, like, if I have that thing in my attic, I'm gonna bronze it. I feel like that was like the toughest thing for my childhood was this Cookie Monster, and I don't know, maybe I took it out of the drawer every morning. It was like maybe I did that. I don't know, but it would always be on my dresser night, always like before bed. And if it was dark out and I had to get up out of bed in the dark to put them in the drawer, that was a problem. That was definitely a problem.
So I get that, as kids. The thing is that I feel like the whole villains thing,
it's ruining some kids. I'm telling Disney right now, it's going to ruin some people.
But to your point about the whole day and night thing, I feel like that's actually going to be kind of self-regulating.
Yeah.
That kids.
Oh no, man!
Like the kids that are going to Fantasyland during the day are not like.
Trevor, parents are bad.
I know. I guess we'll see how many kids are going to be there screaming and crying.
I just think that Disney has been softening their villains over the years, right? Because they exist in a lot of places now, right? Like the parades, they exist. You can meet some of the villains. Like the Gaston one was a huge thing for a while. And I mean, look at
Cruella,
yeah, and I mean, look at what's the I don't know about you guys, but the thing I've seen the most on social media about the Halloween parties this year is Hades. I mean, have you seen the Hades character?
Yes,
I mean,
he's very cool this year.
Extremely cool.
Yeah, I like how they did him.
Yeah, like they have his hair glowing the different colors, and it's all part of the show. And like it's so like I feel like they've been doing this where they have the villains, but they make them kind of
hot take that they had to end up getting rid of the Snow White ride because too many kids were scared.
Oh no, that's true. Disney. Yeah, but I mean, they still have it at Disneyland, right? So, but
is it as scary though?
It was, but they redid it in Disneyland to
less scary.
Especially the turning around part. They redid all of that, so it wasn't quite so traumatizing.
That was, and why is it even scary? Like, I don't know why it's scary.
I mean, that movie was kind of scary at points, right?
But forget about the movie. That ride was like something. Yeah. I mean, even if you think about it, Winnie the Pooh is a little.
Really? Ish. Oh, the Heffalumps?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah. I was terrified of the Heffalumps as a kid. You want to talk about something you were scared of as a kid? Heffalumps. That was, I don't know why I was terrified of that.
So, okay, this is the thing is, we're talking about all these different rides that have scary moments in them and whatnot. So Disney as a whole, I think we treat it like, everything about Disney is like Fantasyland and it's all like nice and whatnot. It's really not.
But shouldn't it be now?
Well, but I don't think it should be. I think there's a balance there, and I think that all this villain stuff coming in is, like Tom said, I feel it is softening it a little bit in that it's becoming normal enough that I know kids are going to get freaked out by things, but when it's kind of like, oh yeah, everybody's cool with this, kids kind of adapt to that, and I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think it is.
Well, and that's what I'm kind of saying about Hades, right? Like it's like Hades is the point where he's like, they're almost making them silly. You know what I mean? Like they're almost making them so they're not like scary. They're silly and funny.
Okay, so if you have a villains park where they're just goofy rather than scary, then I just go back to my original point. Then why
do it? I don't know.
I mean, it's not like there's not enough. See, the thing that's interesting, it's not like there's not enough characters or underrepresentation of good movies in the parks.
That's true.
It will be interesting. I'm curious to see how it goes, but I'll be going there. Like, I feel like, gosh, by the time this done, is it possible I'm a grandparent by then? By the time some of this stuff is done?
This is 2025. So unless you've got some news right now.
The show is next year. So
I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the land.
Yeah, the original discussion was about the show. We kind of went out.
Who cared about the original discussion? Was about Trevor? Come on.
I don't know. This whole episode is rabbit holes.
Tom's trying to keep this in 5 minutes. And I got tennis too, so we got 5 minutes left.
Well, listen, I don't think we could just cover this real quick. So Tron is moving out of standby, and out of virtual queue and moving to standby.
That's good.
So I think
I want to see what the wait times look like, because I wonder if it's as bad as I think it's going to be.
It could be, but I won't be there for a year, so I feel like by the time I go, it'll be good.
I'm going to be there in May, so I do have a vested interest in seeing how.
You didn't go on that yet, though?
Oh yeah, I have been, but
who cares?
Well, no, but I want to ride it more.
That's what lightning is for.
Some people like riding things over and over.
But the problem is you can only get one. You can only do one paid lightning lane a day.
But you're going to be there more than one day.
Yeah, but I still want to do it more than that. I don't want to just ride it 3 times. Like, come on.
I get it. Well, you might do after hours though, right? Well,
that is a discussion for sure. We'll get to that later. But
all right, I saw this one, and I had to put this on here because I thought Damon would be fired up about this one specifically. So,
what am I fired up about? I'm not even looking at the thing.
This is a wild idea, and I would have loved this.
So this is a Disneyland piece of news, and this was actually revealed on a podcast.
Disneyland. I don't care about this.
Well, you love DuckTales. I
do, but it would have been a Disneyland, which would have made me mad. So I can't possibly have a vested interest, even though it would have been awesome. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah. So it was revealed on, and we'll give credit where it's due, the podcast called Unbuilt and Unrealized Theme Park podcast.
Should I follow them now?
What's that?
Should I follow them?
I don't know. We should. I want to check it out. But they revealed that a DuckTales attraction was once set to replace Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin at Disneyland, and they have a piece of concept art here that just looks awesome.
That does look really awesome.
Yeah. It just makes me sad that they didn't do this.
Reading the description, it would have been a fantastic update to Cartoon Spin because, I mean, it's Roger Rabbit, which Roger Rabbit is unfortunately into
past
nostalgia at this part. Yeah. So, this would have been a cool take on it. And especially the way that they I was looking at the track layout. And the way they described it was you're traveling through time, like a DuckTales episode, right? I was like, that would have been
which DuckTales
cool.
is better?
The newer one or the older one?
I don't know.
Very difficult. Yeah, very difficult.
I feel.
I feel the same way, Trevor. I don't know.
I can't say that one is better than the other because they both have very good redeeming qualities to them.
Yes, I would agree.
Do you go classic theme song or new theme song?
Oh, classic theme song. That's not even a question.
Yeah, classic theme.
And I hate to say that, but
just classic was better.
Yeah. But I think about the old one. Yeah, that's definitely a tough call. That's a good place. But I like the one where they talk about all those Disney cartoons that never made it, and that really hurts my feelings. That Gummy Bears one looked terrible, but
still watch it.
I still would watch it. I mean, gosh.
Oh, so we should know too that this retheme would have been based on the new DuckTales, not the old DuckTales. So this is a recent
thing. It kind of ruined a few of the characters in the new DuckTales, I'll be honest with you.
But
my boy Doofus just got totally just
Okay,
but I mean this folk would have focused on Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald,
Webby.
which I actually like that it would have focused on them more than Scrooge because everyone associates Scrooge with DuckTales, but the entire cast really makes it it's not. Most of the episodes are not about Scrooge specifically, which is weird. If you think about it, Scrooge is kind of the head of it, but not really.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. They always say a good idea never dies at Imagineering. This could still happen. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't do this still. I mean,
because they're busy doing all this stupid villain stuff.
Oh, well, not at Disneyland, right?
Well, they're doing Avatar Land at Disneyland.
That's true. But doesn't mean they can't do multiple things at once, right? I mean,
true.
To your point, Trevor, I mean, as much as I like the Roger Rabbit movie and how, it was a pretty revolutionary thing at the time, it's still, I mean, it's how many kids know who Roger Rabbit is? Probably not many, but I would gather a lot of kids know DuckTales still. So, I mean, this could still happen.
If you want to talk scary, I mean, what was his name? Judge Doom in Roger Rabbit. That was actually very scary as a kid's show.
Well, just that movie in general out there, that was not really a kid's movie,
it wasn't.
In any way. But it was, Disney putting it out, so it was I don't know.
It got a pass somehow.
It did, but I mean, it's crazy. But no, I this could absolutely still happen. It looks like they had this pretty fleshed out already. I mean, they got all the rooms together here, and definitely high level. It looks like it would have worked, but
yeah, like you said, I feel like it's probably, they just announced a whole bunch of stuff. This is probably way further down the list that, it would have definitely gotten some attention, but definitely not on the level of some of the other things that we've been talking about.
Maybe if the new series was still going on, they would have done it, but that show ended a couple years ago now. I mean, that's the hard thing too, is, because of the cycle of some of these shows, right? It's like, DuckTales definitely had its moment, but if you did a ride about it, I feel like, even from my kids' point of view, the show was kind of in a, like, he was starting to watch it, and then he got off into other stuff, non-Disney. So it kind of fell off,
movie,
right?
Versus a series, right? Like, I don't like watching movies at all anymore. I'd rather watch series. By the way,
movies
they save
to get more stuff from the parks, right?
I just watched Weird Science yesterday again.
Oh,
that's
wow.
such a good movie.
That's a reference, man.
It was on, and I was like, I haven't seen this in so long. Talk about nostalgia. That was, I have to make a plug here, though, for a show. I guess since it was ABC that it started, I guess it's okay. I don't know if anyone's been watching From on Amazon.
Never even heard of that.
So it's from the producers or writers of Lost. I don't remember which one. It's scary, but gosh, is it good. I'm curious to see if anyone else has watched. So if you liked Lost...
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, I might have to check that out.
Oh, I know. Oh, this. Okay,
and it's with the dude from Lost.
Oh, which dude from Lost?
His name is Henry Pernault or something like that. I forget.
Oh, yeah.
What was his name? Was it Walt? No, Walt's dad.
He was Walt's dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael.
This is the one about that town, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Catch that. It's scary though. Like, don't kid yourself. It's scary. I mean, not like this. It's scary. Like, your kids wouldn't watch it scary, but it's not like, but it's scary. It's pretty good though.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
Anyway,
I'm just waiting for Yellow Jackets to come back.
I haven't even caught up on that.
Oh, you didn't do the last?
Because it got boring.
Oh, I don't think it got boring.
I don't know. I think I'm on like the middle of season 1, and I finished season 1. I'm in like the middle of 2, maybe. And I was just like, this show's done.
Picks up more towards the end, but yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, so one last thing.
Speaking of scary,
there you go.
We've got a Vampire Stitch popcorn bucket that is only coming to Disneyland, which I'm a little sad about. But
it is weird, yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I wish that there was more Halloween stuff like this, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'm glad that they're doing Stitch and it's not another Nightmare Before Christmas thing. I'm so done with Nightmare Before Christmas.
I think we know how much you love that franchise.
It's not good. It's just not. I don't know. Sorry, come for me if you want. I don't care. I don't like it.
As Tim Burton has a renaissance now with the new Beetlejuice movie.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is okay, but yeah. I wonder why they're only doing this in Disneyland is my only thing.
I don't understand why they, it doesn't really make sense to me either. But I specifically put this one on for you for Trevor, because I know you guys really like Stitch, and I think it's also partly too, when does the live action Stitch come out? That's probably not till for another year or two, I would think.
It's sometime next year, I thought.
Okay, so this isn't really like a promotional thing, but I do like the fact that you put the popcorn, that Stitch's mouth opens to get the popcorn out. Yeah, it just feels very appropriate. It's
like the alien popcorn buckets.
Yeah,
same kind of thing where you open it up and just ram popcorn down his throat.
It's always been really interesting to me how they've used Stitch in the parks, because he's not really represented by anything anymore, right? Like, he doesn't have a ride, but there was so many things that he would just show up in, just randomly. Like, Stitch always just shows up randomly in things. And he never, a pretty underrated movie too.
It's never, there's never a negative reception to it either.
No,
right?
No, people like
that's the thing is that anytime Stitch shows up, everyone's like, oh yeah, good,
cool Stitch. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is Stitch a villain? He's kind of villainous in the beginning.
He's not a villain.
Right? It's in the beginning he's villainous.
No, I mean, he's misunderstood.
Okay,
give him that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I wouldn't say he's a villain. He never actually he definitely was feral at the beginning, but I feel there's far more villains in that show than Stitch. Like I would question the Doctor and the bounty hunter more than him.
They do have a Nightmare Before Christmas popcorn bucket though, Trevor. I don't know, and I actually think
good. Cool. I don't want to see that.
I know you don't like. I know you don't like it, but I will say it's pretty cool. If you scroll down in this article, you can click on it. But they also have a vampire Tomater one too as well. So anyway,
I thought about it for a second, then I remember that there was all those the Tomater shorts. So okay, that's fair. That makes sense.
Fair. Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up unless anybody else has anything they want to talk about before we go.
No, I'm good.
All right, cool.
I think Damon might have had to leave already. We're past an hour.
Okay.
We're exactly past an hour.
But listen, we kept it to an hour this week.
Yep,
we should be proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So as usual, if you guys want to reach us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions and hearing your trip reports and all that kind of stuff. You can also find us on social media, on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast, and Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure on Facebook you check out our group called Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we have lots of great discussions about stuff that we talked about on the show, and also just general Disney stuff, and people talking about their own experiences and memes and all that fun stuff. So make sure you check that out if you're looking for a good Disney group, because we are one of the best out there, and I'll say that. And you can, I'm in a fighting mood today, so you can come at me about it. I don't think there's a better Disney group than ours.
Fighting.
So there.
Ooh, I like it.
There we go.
Good. Yeah.
Also, if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and you can check out our different merch there. Maybe if you need some shirts for your next trip. I did see somebody posted a golden button shirt on the West Coast, which is very cool. Love seeing that. So, if you get some merch, send us a pic or, put it in the group. We love seeing you guys rocking the merch. So, please, check out the store if you're looking for some. Similarly, you can also go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/welcomehomepod. And you can check out our different Patreon levels of support, which all have exclusive merch that you can only get on Patreon. And all of our Patreon listeners get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we love having great conversations about stuff on the show. But then also you kind of get a little bit of a preview sometimes, like when Tom is is working on stuff, like
let's not talk about my unreleased reckless speculation demo.
But it's on the Discord if you're curious. It is on the Discord, and we sometimes throw stuff out there that we're working on for the show and whatnot. Yeah. So make sure you check that out if you're wanting to kind of see. I guess it's a little behind the scenes, but yeah, we kind of we talk about that stuff in the Patreon chat more than
absolutely,
or on the Discord chat more than anything. Also, if you are on iTunes or Spotify or actually any platform, because there's multiple platforms now that you can leave reviews, leave us a 5-star review. It does help more people find the show, just because the way the internet works. And we also do love seeing the reviews that you guys put up for the show. We love knowing what you think about the show. So, keep that stuff coming.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app out there you can find us. And if you use one that you can't find us, let me know and I'll add us to it so you can listen there. So we're everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all the opinions we express on the show are our own, so please consult a DVC representative or a Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. A huge thank you to our sponsor of this episode, DVC Resale Market, and of course, World of DVC for continuing to support this show. If you need anything DVC-wise, please check out World of DVC. They are fantastic to work with, so please go check them out. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.